Okay, welcome to the lesson on capitalization. So in this lesson we'll be learning about capital letters and some of the common rules that apply to them. It used to be there was a time when people would just kind of capitalize any word in a sentence that they felt was important. But since then they've come up with more standard rules that apply to when to capitalize something and when not to. Even so, there are certain styles that favor, like if there are any gray areas, they favor a lot of, capitalizing things. That's called up style. There's another that's called down style, which is if there's ever a gray area or doubt, to not capitalize something. But we're not really going to get involved in those controversies. We're going to just look at some of the most common rules and figure out how to use those. So the first rule that we'll look at is pretty obvious. It's first words in a sentence. Those are capitalized, and yes, even in emails. So something like, do not feed the alligator. First word is capitalized in the sentence. But sometimes with internet communication, whether that's emails or just online posts, people can get lazy with capitalization and even not capitalize the first letters in a sentence. But those should, in fact, be capitalized. Okay, direct quotations or dialogue. The rule is capitalize the first word of a quotation even if it occurs in the middle of another sentence. For example, as Mark Twain once said, nothing so needs reforming as other people's habits. Nothing there is capitalized. It's the first word of that new sentence that's being quoted. But you should not capitalize the first word if the quotation is the completion of a previously started sentence. So in this example, nothing so needs reforming, Mark Twain once said, as other people's habits. That second part of the quotation, which is just a continuation of the first, is not capitalized. The major words in titles are capitalized, so that would be all nouns and verbs. You do not capitalize the or prepositions if they occur mid-title. So we have a couple of titles of famous works here. Where the red fern grows. Okay, the only word that's not capitalized there is the. An ode on a Grecian urn. Countries, languages, and nationalities are capitalized. Okay, so we have Spain, French, English history, and American literature. Okay, the reason that normally subjects, as we'll see later, are not capitalized, school subjects are not capitalized, but in this case, since English is describing the nationality and American is describing the kind of literature, those are capitalized. Racial and ethnic groups. So the rule is simply to capitalize racial and ethnic groups, as seen here in these examples. There is some controversy and question about whether white and black should be capitalized as denoting a racial group. Some saying yes, it's a clear indication of a racial group. Others saying no, it's an adjective describing color of skin. And we're not really going to get into that controversy here, but just know that there is some debate about that. And if you're writing for a publication, you'll follow the style of whoever is publishing your work. Names and titles. Capitalize titles when used in place of a person's name or when attached to a person's name. So for example, have you talked to Mom yet? Mom here, normally Mom is not capitalized, but it's capitalized here because it's standing in as the name of the person. Let's invite Aunt Jane for dinner. We have the title there is capitalized because it's talking about a specific person, Aunt Jane. In history today, Professor Smith was late. But on the other hand, if it's not referring to a specific person or not standing in for someone's name, it's not capitalized. So I talked to my mom. Now I'm just describing the relationship. Mom is not standing in as her name. Let's invite my aunt to dinner. Same thing. We're not talking about Aunt Jane anymore. It's just my aunt. It's not capitalized. And in history, the professor was late. Academic subjects. The rule is capitalize academic subjects only when their names are based on countries or languages or when they indicate a specific class, not just a general subject. So, have you taken Psychology 201? It's capitalized here because it's a specific class. It's the title of a specific class. It's 201, basically. I like my American literature class. That's not a specific class, but it's still capitalized because of the word American. Remember, nationality is capitalized. So if you're to say, I'm not a fan of history, that's a general subject. It's not capitalized. I wish I had better time slot for Science 101. It's the 101 there that makes that a title of a specific class and not just a general subject. If it were a general subject, science would not be capitalized. Okay, proper nouns. The rule is capitalize the names of specific companies, brands, and institutions. So we have here some examples of companies and brands. So even things like Republican Party or American Civil Liberties Union, these are institutions, they would be capitalized. Religion. The rule is to capitalize specific religions or names of deity. General references like the gods are not capitalized. Okay, so we see some examples here of specific denominations. I'm Catholic and he's Mormon. Are you Christian? Okay, so Buddhist is capitalized in that sentence, Buddhist meditation. And then Jesus Christ and his teachings. When it comes to that pronoun his, referring back to Jesus Christ, or any reference to deity, that is a style. Some styles see that to capitalize the pronoun as respectful and reverent. Others do not. It's probably a matter of preference and even belief, maybe. Dates. So you capitalize the days of the week, months, and holidays. You do not capitalize seasons. That's the most common mistake here. So Monday, March, Christmas, those are all capitalized. But winter, spring, summer, fall seasons, they're not capitalized. When it comes to locations, you capitalize the names of specific locations, cities, and street names, but you do not capitalize general directions. So for example, Madison Hospital, Elm Street, Rocky Mountains, these are specifically named places. Or you could say, I live in the South, and that is capitalized because that's the name given to that whole region, and it's acting as a location. But if you just say, I turned west, that's not referring to a region, that's referring to a direction. That's not capitalized. Okay, that's the end of this lesson. Just 11 very common, very useful rules on capitalization.